Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to the Elitist Geek VR news for Friday, September 30th, 2016.
That is Gaming Friday to you, my man.
Gaming Friday indeed. Let's jump right into it. Lots to talk about, just like yesterday. Lots of VR news, no doubt in part because of October approaching fast. October is going to be a huge month for VR. Can't wait to get October started. I really can't. I'm usually, keep the summer going as long as we can here before the crappy weather sets in, but I'm all about the crappy weather now. I want October here for all the goodies. First things first, guys, just again, thank you so much for all the support on the channel over the last few months with this virtual reality content. I really appreciate it. And hopefully you guys stick around for some more. Plan on doing more of the same. I'm going to be adding more games to the Quick Look series. I've got a bunch of stuff. Just again, timing. As soon as the time frees up, we'll get those out and move forward. So let's start with some gaming. Serious Sam VR. A viewer brought this to my attention. And I heard talk about it, but wasn't really aware of the details of the game. But this is shaping up to be... I'm not even going to pretend this is a killer app. It's going to be far from a killer app. But I do think it has the potential to be as popular as something like Raw Data, given its pedigree and just the play style. The play looks nice, frantic, fast-paced. Graphics look really good. And the gameplay looks fun, which is all you want in a VR game. We also got details on the launch for it. So October 17th, 2016 is when they launched. There's a trailer. I'll try to remember to put the link below to check it out. But I think you'll agree the gameplay looks really good. Also, just sticking on the topic of games, Rise of the Tomb Raider for PlayStation VR. I had mentioned before that there was going to be a component of that game that was virtual reality taking place in Croft Manor. We have details on that now. So it's basically an hour-long VR story mode. So pretty damn short. I was hoping for a little bit more. Story mode, they didn't get into it, but to me it kind of implies it's going to be very linear and, by the rails. Hopefully I'm wrong. I want a bit more freeform. I'd love to just be able to explore the manor in VR. It'd be kind of cool because it would take it full circle to those old original Tomb Raider games where you could do exactly that, run around her manor. So hopefully it's not completely linear. And then just some news on Battlezone, a game that I'm personally so excited about for the PlayStation VR. Xcity behind me there actually had a really good comment. I was trying to put my thumb on the graphics of the game, like the aesthetic style. A lot of people might not know the game I'm referencing, but for anybody who does, cheers to you. Stellar 7, which was a shooter-style game on the Amiga, I think Atari ST as well, eh, bro?
Yeah, and PC.
Yeah, and PC, exactly. Oh, yeah, that was on our first PC, exactly, of course.
38640s.
The 38640s, you betcha, with 105 meg Whopping hard drives.
Yep, and the whole 4 megabytes of RAM.
Exactly, 4 megs of RAM. Geez, how the specs have changed. But anyways, it looks to be in that aesthetic. And if you Google it, you'll know what I mean. Or I'll probably have a picture up here and you can see Stellar 7. I'm okay with that. I just like the fact that they released today word that you will be able to play Battlezone co-op, which I think is just going to be awesome. You and your buddies driving around in tanks for a common goal should be a lot of fun. Kind of in that same vein as Hover Junkers, I think. Possibly even more fun. All right, on to the news. HTC has formally launched Viveport today to the rest of the world. So I'd reported on Viveport back in early June and indicated that it was going to open in China first. Well, now it's in 31 countries, including mine, Canada. And I've taken a look and I kind of see what they're doing. It still comes across like they're kind of competing with themselves, which is a little bit strange. Or the perception is kind of that Valve had their software portion, and now HTC has theirs, even though it's Viveport and it's related. But the content, for the most part, is different. So they've got some categories here. For example, they've got a section called Explore Worlds. And you bet if you're thinking it's experiences underwater, the blue, that sort of thing, Mars exploration. Another section called Create Things, which is where they have your tilt brushes, those types of applications. Experience stories, which are exactly as they say, experiences. And a multiplayer social one called Connect with Friends. But at the very bottom of that, they have their favorite game picks. So you can still get some games through there. There's not a lot. I think there was about a dozen there. But some game options nonetheless. Still don't know if it's a smart move in my head to have two storefronts like that. You think it kind of really splinters and almost factions the purchasing, but it could be a smart move. Too early to tell. But my gut says it probably should have just stayed on one storefront. Next up, we have one of probably many to come PlayStation VR unboxings. And I'm not usually a guy who's big on unboxings unless it's something I'm really interested in and I want to see what is included. And I got to admit, with Sony PlayStation VR, it was that middleware, hardware that I was most curious about. But we'll get into that. So he went through the box. I'm going to include the video link below. Took out all the different parts. And once again, it was like Sony reaching in the past when they were the king of aesthetics, right? Something that, in my opinion, Samsung has kind of siphoned away from them the last decade. It's kind of like they've reached back into that nostalgia. I like the aesthetic for the PlayStation VR. It looks fantastic and it looks comfortable with, and I mentioned that the other day, the around the crown of the head wrap. Cables as you would expect, but that middleware box, and I'm just trying to see if I have it around me. Yes, I do. Grab it real quick. This is an AverMedia capture box. And it looks similar to that, but even smaller. And that was my fear, that it was going to be a big clunky box in between the PlayStation 4 and your TV. It's not. It's probably half the size of this and half the thickness, which is not too bad at all. So definitely less clunky than I thought. All right, next up. Twitch streamers, a few Twitch streamers, namely Axel Hunter and Simon Flau. I'm not familiar with these guys. I'm not one that's really watches a lot of Twitch stuff with gameplay especially. I'm usually too busy playing them with what free time I have. Or I'll watch short bursts, right, of gameplay. So yeah, I haven't really done a lot of Twitch watching. But apparently a couple of the Minecraft streamers have switched to Minecraft VR and are just loving the experience. And so far, the most popular one among them is the Vive version. Now, I'm trying to remember, did the Vive have the smooth motion or was it teleport only? I think it was teleport based only, whereas what I like about the Gear VR one is the smooth movement. It just feels, it kind of feels like regular Minecraft, but then in VR, just like I would want it to move, the locomotion. So, yeah, I don't remember with the Vive, but that's predominantly the version that the streamers on Twitch are using. I mention this only because it's a good way to get exposure. Lots of kids are watching this, Twitch streams, and for them to see virtual reality units, hopefully that leads to Christmas sales. So, my opinion, the more the merrier. Get it out there. I've said that so many times. Get it out everywhere. If you're going to do it through a popular one, you could pick worse than Minecraft in terms of popularity. So I got no problems with that at all. Next news item, Oculus Connect. So we get word from John Carmack, their Chief Technology Officer at Oculus, that their Connect 3 event this year is going to have portions of it streamed via the aforementioned Twitch and NextVR, which is that service that I mentioned that is all about quality 360 as opposed to the crap stuff, as they put it themselves. So that should be that should be kind of neat. I'm going to follow as much as I can of the event through those VR streams. PlayStation VR launch on the same topic, October 13th is a midnight launch. And I've mentioned that Best Buy stores in North America are going to have midnight launches. Well, I erred in that statement, so I'm going to retract that formally and annotate the previous video. It is not, so far, going to be available in Canada. So no Canadian Best Buy stores doing a midnight launch as far as I can tell. Haven't been able to confirm that. When I do, I'll announce it again. But so far, no luck for us here. And I checked my schedule. Unfortunately, I won't be in Vegas on the 13th. We're actually back here in the Vancouver area. So I'll see what I can do in terms of finding a store to purchase a unit from. Next up, Tilt Brush. So Google, who created Tilt Brush, had added that music component. That was kind of the last big update to Tilt Brush, and it's proven extremely popular. So popular, in fact, that Google has been experimenting with other features. Now, I had mentioned before that there were rumors they were going to do a multiplayer aspect of Tilt Brush, or a multiplayer version of it, rather. Turns out they've confirmed that that is one of the items that they're working on, is the multiplayer where you can work on projects with others, and this one's kind of cool, because it seems so obvious. I wish more apps would do it. The front-facing camera on the Vive. Actually take advantage of that so you can see the real world when you need to. And they do it almost from like, it's almost like an artistic cutscene. So you're basically scraping away the paint from glass or a wall, illuminating the real world that you can see. And then it closes up again when you disable the camera. So a nice little touch. And all those times where I'm thinking back, where I've taken my HMD off when I really didn't have to, provided I could have seen, right? If it limits that, that'll be awesome. Last news story. We get word that every version of the Oculus Touch in all regions is going to include with it a clip for Rock Band VR. So Rock Band VR, which is going to be a launch title, you put your Oculus Touch controller onto the clip, onto the neck of your guitar, right near the end, and that'll help with the motion tracking of the guitar in the Rock Band experience. There's also a video that I'm going to link about some of the behind-the-scenes making of Rock Band VR. And it's really interesting because the lady who's doing the story, she kind of goes through some impromptu pros and cons. And the pros, of course, are you really get that sense of being a rock star because for the first time you're actually playing in front of an audience. Virtual, but an audience. That's
I'm totally looking forward to.
Exactly. That's just a nice touch, right? What she mentioned as a negative was the fact that currently you only have access to the guitar. So my guess would be down the road they're going to add drums, everything else. But right now you kind of really feel detached from the rest of your band. Almost like you're a studio musician hired to go on the road with these guys instead of an integral member of the band, right? But I'm sure that's something they're probably going to change. All right, guys. Like I said, 'tis Friday. Time to get our game on. As always, cheers. And definitely catch you on the VR flip side.